Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. A little functional class here today, guys. I'm going to give you about a minute just to get set up if you are already lacking and not set up. A little bit of a different background than where I was previously, but nonetheless, still the same old Coach Dan. Ladies and gents, we are going to go right into an active warm-up. I want to see a heel down, toe up. Actually, we forgot one thing. Let's kick off the shoes today. I want to do a lot of either barefoot stuff. If you want to be barefoot, or socks would be great as well. A lot of what we're going to be doing is working on gripping the ground with our feet. So kick those shoes off. We'll go right to a walking toe touch here. Heel down, toe up. I just need 2 on each leg. Short range of motion. Make sure I don't go ice right. We'll flip around, coming back. We're going to do a cross knee pull. So we're going to need to pull your knee across your body. Still 2. Stand nice and tall. Pull across your body. Pull across. 2 on each side. After we get 2, we'll pick up the right leg. Try to get your heel to your butt. Reach all the way up. Switch it. Opposite leg. Just 2 on each. When we hit 2, we'll go right back into a reverse lunge. Once you go all the way, and then we'll switch to the opposite side. Stay in place here. We'll switch it. We'll lunge, touch the instep, eyes follow the hand, big rotation. And we switch. Perfect. Top it up. Feet are going to be about shoulder width apart for me here. Now, not into our series yet. We're going to go into kind of the theme of what we're doing today. Hopefully, your sneaks are off. You're either barefoot or socks. I want you to grip the ground with your feet. For those of you who have joined me before in functional classes, we talked about the 3 points that Coach Trav taught us. Right below the very bottom, trying to get your butt below your knees. The lower we can go here, the better we'll be in activating those glutes properly. We'll just get 5. Nice and slow. No rush. 3. Last one. Keep your chest tall. Try to get that butt down as low as you can. Now, let's widen those feet up a little bit more. Still, those 3 points on our feet, below the big toe, below the pinky toe, and the heel, in contact with the ground, spread the toes out. Once we are here, we'll go into a lateral lunge. We're going to lunge into our hip, keep our chest tall. We're going to focus on getting a good stretch of the groin of the straight leg, not the bent leg. Bent leg, we're sitting back into the glute, keeping our chest up. We'll get 5 on each side, nice and slow. The depth of that lateral lunge is going to be key. We're lateral lunging, right? We're not gaining depth, but just dropping our chest down. We want depth coming from the hip. So if I do a lateral lunge towards you, that chest should be relatively tall. It will collapse a little bit, but that glute's got to get down nice and low. Just back to that regular position. Just going to get 5 on each side. Chest tall, core tight. After we get our 5th, which is 1 more, we are going to rest briefly. Quick sip, and we'll get right into it here, guys, in a second. Nothing needed today other than no shoes on. For those of you joining us right now. A little hot in Southern California. For those of you joining us internationally and across the nation. Nonetheless, here we go into Series 1. We're going to start with a curtsey lunge. You've got to be careful with this exercise, though. When you're curtsey lunging, first things first, remember we're gripping the ground with our foot as we talked about in the warm-up. The heel, the point below the big toe, the point below the pinky toe. Once we've got those 3 points of contact in the ground, then we spread the toes out. So now I'm nice and stable in my first point of contact with the ground. If your foot is not in contact with the ground, it's wobbly and wiggly, right? If the foot is wobbly and wiggly, we're all over the place. Force then transfers up to the weakest joint of the body, also known as the knee, for those of you playing toe. So we're going to grip the ground. In our curtsey lunge, chest is nice and tall the entire time. As we do this, right, if I am facing you, okay, straight ahead would be 12 o'clock. With my right foot, I'm going to aim for 7 o'clock. With my left foot, I'm going to aim for 5 o'clock. Whoa, see if that makes sense. So, we grip the ground, right, chest tall. My right foot, again, is aiming for 7 o'clock. I'm going to reach back and just tap my foot on the ground. Here's where you see a lot of errors in curtsey lunges. People go like this. They go all the way out over here, right? It causes torsion in the knee. It's not the best thing. However, if we limit how far back we go or how much torque we're putting on our knee, we can turn this into a relatively safe exercise as long as it's done properly. That foot's going to reach back, it's going to touch 5, and then we're going to stand. Now, from a side view, the range of motion is not great, right? I'm not coming all the way down here trying to get super far, right? My chest is dropping. My chest stays tall, I reach back. Once I'm here, I'm going to drive from my glutes to stand me up. We're going to do 5 of those on each leg. That's just the first exercise. The next one, we're going to drop down and we're going to do active ankle dorsiflexion. My right hand would be on top of my right knee. My left hand is going to lock my heel down. What I'm trying to do is I'm going to try to push my knee over my toes without my heel lifting up. If I do this properly, dorsiflexion is here, right? Dorsiflexion is key for things such as squat depth, lunge, right? Lunging properly, a multitude of things, right? It spans a lot of athletic movements. It's kind of important. So we're going to take that hand, put it on top of our knee. The left hand would be on our ankle, and we're going to press that knee over our toes, and we're going to get 10 active dorsiflexion. Do that on both legs. The last thing we're going to do is flip over onto our back. Some of you have done this one with me before in a straight leg back bridge, meaning the heels are here. Now, in a traditional back bridge march, we're normally all the way in. The closer your heels are to your butt, the higher on the hamstring we are going to get to fire. So we actually want those heels to be further away. And the lower portion of the hamstring, which comes underneath the knee, is now going to be fired. So the legs are not almost straight. And I don't want you locked out here. Slight bend in those knees. I'm going to press my hips up, and I'm going to alternate a march. Now, here's the thing. The further out we go, the harder that's going to be. If it's too hard, pull your heels in a little bit. Right? Don't go crazy in doing something that you feel not really sure about, right? Might not feel great on the knees. Okay, so pull the heels in if you have to, right? But I'd like you to go out as far as you can. So, back to the top of the order. Let's go back to our curtsey lunge, right? Again, 3 points of contact on our foot. Let's grip the ground. Chest tall. We're reaching that right foot back to 5. Firing the glute up. It doesn't have to be crazy far, right? This right foot should not be going towards 9 o'clock. If it's going towards 9 o'clock, there's way too much torque on that knee. Now, let's get the right foot planted. 3 points. Spread my toes out. Now the left foot. Boom. Aiming for 5 o'clock. Again, the left foot should not be aiming towards 3 o'clock. Now all these time references are a little confusing. Hopefully you're with me. Those of you who use analog. 5. After we hit 5, we'll hit our active dorsiflexion. Remember, same hand on the knee, opposite hand locks the heel down. The heel cannot raise up. You lock the heel down. I want that knee coming over the toes. Now, nice and slow. Don't rush through this. Don't get to the end of this and all of a sudden just retract it from back to the starting position. Really try to push the range of motion at the end of this. That's where the majority of the benefit is going to come from. It's going to be that end range of motion that we're trying to push. This is going to be 10 reps on each leg. Take the time, lock that heel down, focus on the range of motion. If you find that sticking point, feel free to work through it, hang there for an extra second. Remember, this is functional day. It doesn't have to be crazy fast. And then we'll switch. Come to the opposite side, flip around so you guys can see well. Okay, take that left hand on top of the left knee, lock the heel down, press that knee over the toe. Just 10. Now on this left side, I can feel this left heel wanting to pull up, so I'm actively pushing my right hand down on that heel to keep that planted on the ground. If that heel lifts up, the whole stretch of the dorsiflexion is then lost. So make sure that that heel is staying down. We're going to get 10 reps After we get 10, we'll flip over onto our back. We're going to do our straight leg back bridge march. Now remember, legs are not locked out. We shouldn't be here. There should be a slight bend in our knees. If you want a little bit of added stability, put the arms out to the side. Right back to it. Let's go back to our curtsey lunge. Down. Find your 3 points, spread the toes out, chest tall. Remember, the right foot is aiming for 7. Last one, 5. The left foot aiming for 5. Find the stability here. If you feel like you're wobbling and wiggling a little bit, make sure you're actively stretching those toes out, gripping the ground. Could be losing it there. The active dorsiflexion, right back to it. We're going to hit 10 reps. Heel stays locked down on the ground. If you want to stay at the end range of motion and just rock in from there as opposed to coming all the way back, I'm fine with that too. And I'll just work that end range just a little bit more. After we get 10, let's switch it to the opposite leg. Switch it up. Lock that heel down. Remember, if you want to stay a little bit of a shorter range of motion towards the end here where we're getting that stretch, it's fine. It's going to be a good active stretch. Now, what are we stretching? Great question. A little posterior tibialis. And a little bit of Achilles stretch in there. Push that end range in the last one. Flip it over. Let's go right back to that straight leg back bridge march. Heels down, hips all the way up. Got to see, right, as you're going, if you're feeling that hip drop like this, you're probably too far. Your legs are probably just a wee bit too far. Pull your heels in a little bit, right, and just make sure that the hips can stay up the entire time. Now, if we can push it and go a little bit straighter, and the hips stay up, and we don't have to lift our foot off the ground super high. Just making sure that the hips stay up the whole time, that is key. Ten. Last one here, crew. Our Curtsey lunge. You find those 3 points, spread the toes out. Reaching as far back as we can while still aiming at 7 with that right foot. Don't reach too far and start creeping towards 8 and 9 o'clock. Again, that's when we're really twerking the knee. Switch it up. Lock your heel down. Make sure you're driving that knee over the toes. No rush on this one. If you do want to stay on that end range, that is fine. And then we'll switch it. Big drive. Ten. The last one here for series 1. We'll go back to that straight leg back bridge march. Flip it, heels down. Remember, the hips are staying up. Slightly raise that foot up off the ground. Make sure we're finding our breath. Don't hold your breath. Last one. Okay, good. All right, guys. Let's take a minute here to rest. Grab a quick sip. Get right into round 2 here. We're series 2, I should say. About 1 minute. All right. Now, The next thing we're going to do is work on actively stretching our hips. The goal is to stretch the hips first. We're going to go into a little bit more of a dynamic movement with a squat to an overhead reach. We're going to be working a little bit on thoracic spine mobility. And then we're going to work on stretching our shoulders out. So we're going to stretch, we're going to go to an active movement, then we're going to go back to stretching. So your Frogger stretch, what I want you to do, right, straight ahead, so you guys can see, I'm going to actually turn my feet so that the inside of my arch should be on the ground. Right? We don't want to be like this when we're on the ground. So I'm going to turn my feet, okay? Then I'm going to, again, inside of the arches are on the ground, and the inside of my knees are down. Should be a Frogger position. What we're trying to do is work on that end range of motion of that hip flexion, right? Very, very end range, similar to what happens in a squat. You're going to see why we're doing this before we go into our squat exercise next. So the Frogger stretch, again, we find that position, and you're going to use your hands to push them into the turf, try to get your butt back towards your heels. Okay? Those are going to be 10, nice and slow. Now, I'm going to do that one from a side view because you're going to see inside, right, inside my deep groin, right, a lot of the psoas in there, it's going to be super tight. So my range of motion is not going to be great. It's okay, right? But we're going to translate that into then a squat. So our squat, what I want you to do, we're going to start with a cross grip position. We're going to squat down as low as you possibly can go, similar to what we tried to accomplish in the warm-up. Don't forget that our feet, the 3 point of contact, those are on the ground, our toes are spread out, gripping the ground. Hands are across our chest as we descend and come down, and I want you to focus on getting as low as we can. Now, once we're here, we're going to raise our hands off, we're going to raise our right hand up, our left hand up, and then we're going to stand and reset. From a side view, as we squat down here, we get as low as we can, right? Very, very similar hip flexion to what we're talking about in that, or what we're seeing in the Frogger stretch. That's why we're doing that before the squat. Once we get to this point, right, and we lift off, as I raise my arm up, make sure you're not leaning forward. If you are leaning forward, it shows us, or it's telling that the thoracic spine is pretty tight. In that position, or if that starts to happen, what I want you to do is go a little bit, don't go as low. Raise the arm up, so the chest is tall, and then stand up. So the depth of the squat is only key if that thoracic spine is allowing us to raise those arms out without rounding the back. And that's only going to be 5 reps. Last but not least, we do this in the warm-up sometimes. We're going to be on our knees. We're going to make a fist. Our forehead is going to go straight on that fist. Our opposite hand is going to be out front, okay, of the body, and the thumb is going to be straight up towards the ceiling. From this position, we're going to be working on shoulder flexion. So I want you to raise your arm up as high as you can. Now, when we're down here, and our head is on our fist, and the arm is out, where we're raising from is going to be key. The arm is fully stretched out. I want you focusing on raising from down here, from the bottom of that shoulder blade. That's what you should feel firing to raise the shoulder up. If you're starting to feel your trap up here in your neck firing, I need you to reposition your arm. I need you to think about sinking that arm down and into the socket, so that when we raise, you should feel down here. It's kind of a strange sensation to be lifting down from here, right? But this is going to help pull those scaps down and back, right? Promote good posture as well as good shoulder health. Make sure that shoulder is not jammed up and the trap is taking over. Now, we'll start from the top of the order with our Frogger stretch. We'll go into our squat, and then we'll go right into our arm raise. Remember, it's 10 reps in the Frogger stretch. Those are going to be active. 5 squats followed by 10 shoulder raises per arm. So, those Frogger, you're just see what I was talking about earlier. Turn your feet. Inside of our feet is on the ground. Inside of our knees is on the ground. From this position, I'm going to press my hands into the ground. I'm going to try to get my butt back as far as I can towards my heels and reset. 1, 2. Now for me, it's deep, it's inside the groin. I can feel that in my psoas as well. If this is super tight, this is a great exercise to do to help increase squat range of motion and mobility. Nice and slow, use your hands, press your hands into the ground. The hands are going to help sit us a little bit further back, as opposed to just trying to reach our butt back. You actually want to try to be pushing your butt towards your heels. Okay, 10. Now we go into that squat. Remember, our squat, we start in a cross-grip position. Feet just a little bit wide and shoulder width. We're gripping the ground. 3 points in our toes, gripping, as we've talked about all day long. Hands are here. We're going to squat as low as we can. Nice and low. Push the range of motion. If you feel like you kind of get stuck at the bottom, see if we can go a little bit lower. Now from here, my chest is tall. I'm going to raise my arms off. I'm going to go right arm, left arm, and I'm going to stand up, using my glutes to drive me up. We'll reset. That's 1. Nice and low in that squat. 2. 3. 4. Last one. Nice and low in that squat. Nice and low. Perfect. Last one, let's hit our shoulder arm raise. From our knees, make our fist. The forehead goes on that fist. Now the arm stretched out. Okay? I can already feel in this position that my trap is taking over. So I'm going to reach and I'm going to try to reset that arm back down and in. So once I'm here, as I raise, don't feel that trap fire. If you're starting to feel like the arm's reaching out, the trap's taking over, just reset. Get the arm back in. And 10. And then we'll switch it. Same rules apply. Try to raise your arm up as high as you can. Okay, those last couple of reps, I felt that left arm starting to creep up. Again, I know it's kind of tough to tell, but up here, this is much different than being here. Relax the shoulder down into the shoulder blade and then raise from there. Very, very different. And what we're going to do, we take a lot of pressure away from the anterior portion of the shoulder by doing that. Let's go back to our Frogger stretch here. Okay. Turn inside of my feet. Active range of motion. Now again, just like we did in that active dorsiflexion, at the very end here, I don't have to come all the way and reset up here. I can just kind of slowly pulse the end range of motion and see if by staying there, I can actively increase that range of motion. Yikes. Woo. Back to our squat. Hands across your chest, chest tall. We're going to squat down, nice and low. Arm off, off. 1. 2. I'm going to turn from a side view so you can see me. 3. 4. 5. From a side view, remember, if you're starting to see this in the squat, as you raise your arm up, it's feeling like your chest is caving over, right? You're not able to keep it upright. That's just showing us that the thoracic spine's a little tight. Limit that range of motion. Let's go back to that shoulder raise. Make the fist. Make sure that the shoulder is down and in. Switch it up. And 10. Last set here, guys. Back to that Frogger stretch. Stay at that end range of motion. We do not have to reset all the way back up. We can come down as far as we can go. Come up just slightly. Use your hands to actively press into the ground. And 10. Let's go back to our squat. Hands start crossed. Chest nice and tall. Gotta get as low as we can in that squat. Raise our arms off, raise them up, then we stand. 1. 2. 3. 4. Last rep. Nice and low in that squat. And 5. Shoulder raise, and then we're going to rest. Make sure the hand is not creeping up, and that trap is taking over. And 10 switch up. 10. A little rest, about 1 minute on the clock here, guys. 1 minute. A little rest. We'll go into the third final series of today, and that will round us out, take us close to the end. Last, certainly not least, for my final trick. Ladies and gents, we go back to gripping the ground. 3 points, contact, toes spread out like we've talked about all day long. Once we're here, we're going to find a quarter squat in the glute. So from a side view, on my right leg, quarter squat would be like about right there. The quarter squat is loading the glute. Please do not load the quad. I do not want you shifting that knee over the toes, having the quad load. I want the glute firing. Once that glute is firing, okay, we're going to take our opposite foot. I'll turn straight ahead so you can see me a little bit better. The opposite heel is going to be out front. We are going to do a big circle, trying to get our toes aligned with our right heel. Our left toe is aligned with the right heel, and then we go big circle coming back, trying to get the heel of the left foot aligned with the right toes. The whole time, what I want you focusing on is the planted leg should not be valgus collapsing. A valgus collapse is if the knee is dropping in here. If you feel that happening, that's your body not using the glute to stabilize, and it's just relying on our knee, right, to try to stabilize and give us a little bit of extra stability as we go through that half circle. So if you're feeling that happen, your circle 1 might be too wide. In our stance, we might be a little too tall. You might not be loaded in that glute. But remember, keep the glute loaded, and if the circle's too wide, shorten the circle up. Just go from here to here. Find a range of motion that's comfortable, that's not causing that knee to drop in. Over and back is 1. We'll get 5. After we get 5, we're going to do a heel walk. So we're going to get back to that dorsiflexion that we tried to work on the range of motion in the first series, pulling our toes up towards our shin as high as we can go. We are going to do 5 steps each foot, so 10 total forward, and then we're going to do 5 steps each heel going backward, which is not the easiest thing to do, keeping those toes actively pulled up towards the shin, also known as dorsiflexion. $10 word for it. Last one, single leg balance abduction. We go back to gripping the ground again. Our opposite leg is going to be off the ground, and I want you to abduct. That means bringing the leg away from the body. The toes are going to be pointed straight ahead the whole time. I need you to push this range of motion. You're going to feel the top of the hip fire. One of my favorite exercises. What I don't want you to focus on, or I don't want to happen with your body, a better way to say it, you should not be leaning away from the midline of the body. So as you abduct your right leg, you shouldn't feel like you're leaning to your left, and vice versa, with the left abducting to your right. Okay? So, without further ado, let's get to it. Let's grip the ground with our foot, right? Toes digging in, 3 points, contact. We find that quarter squat, glutes firing. Here we go. big circle. As big as that circle can be without that knee collapsing. Now, stability and balance is dynamic. Very, very few times, if not ever, is balance just completely stagnant. So, even though you're wobbling and wiggling, that's fine. Just don't waste that rep. If you feel like you're wobbling and wiggling, catch yourself. That's a true definition of balance. Right? Balance is not this. Yes, it is, but right, I want you to be actively balanced. Grab the ground, heel out front. 1, big circle. 2, make sure the glute is firing. 3, 4, and 5. To our heel walk. Heel up, toe up. We're going to get 5 steps per leg. After we hit 5, heel up, toe up, going backwards. 10. Last one. That's single leg abduction. Balance, toes straight ahead. 1. Only going to get 5 here. I think I forgot to tell you that in the breakdown at the beginning. Make sure you're not leaning away from that leg that's kicking out. If you feel like your body is doing this, readjust. Don't go as far with that leg that abducts. Five. Perfect. We're back to that single leg circle. Find that squat, heel out front, big circle. And I want you to push the range of motion here and increase how big that circle is. Because again, I want this balance to be dynamic. That is going to be the true essence of balance. Again, balance is normally not a static thing or a stagnant thing. Stagnant thing. Right? Big circle. Three. 4, 5. Okay. Right to that heel walk. It's easy in the heel walk as you step. Probably better from a side view. As I step, I don't want my toes to do this and go towards the ground. I want to try to actively pull those toes up the entire time. By doing that, we're forcing the tibialis anterior, boom, welcome to anatomy class, to fire properly. Right? If your toes are pulled up like this, that tibialis anterior is probably not firing properly. Okay, so pull them up. We're going to take 5 steps. 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we go back. Okay, now 1, 2, 3, 4. Not easy going back. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. Last one, single leg half circle. Last one for the day, and then we're going to go through a cool down here, guys. Grip that ground, leg is out front. Okay, big circle, going all the way back and all the way up. 1. Don't waste a rep. If you feel like you're about to go down, fight for the balance. Again, balance is a dynamic thing. 3. Let me get one more for good measure. The glutes firing. There we go. Switch it up. 2, 3. Bam! Don't waste a rep. Nicely done. Heel walk. Here we go. Pull those toes up. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The last one. That's single leg balance abduction. Gripping that ground. Here we go. Nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Switch it up. Whoa. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fight for the balance. Ladies and gentlemen, we left plenty of time for our cool down today, which is going to be perfect. I want to spend a decent amount of time here just slowing it down, focusing on stretching. We do have our regens with Coach Trav. If any of you have tuned into those, or if you have not, it's a great way to kind of combat what we're doing so much of right now, which is just a ton of sitting, right? And I know everyone's guilty of it. Even as stuff opens, I still find myself, in my truck sitting pretty frequently, or sitting at the desk. And I definitely have noticed that in the past couple of weeks, my back's tight, like the flex is a little tight. So we're going to spend a little bit of time, just stretching everything out in the hips, lumbo-pelvic hip region, just kind of addressing the lower back real quick, and then that'll conclude the day. Right, a lot of what we did was already some stretching, so we should be pretty dialed in after this day. Feeling functional, as they say. Okay, so our right knee is going to be down, the left foot's going to be flat on the ground. What I want you doing is actively pressing the hip forward. We did this in the similar variation of this in the warm-up. Both hands are going to be on the opposite knee, because what I want you to do is to try to prop your chest up as tall as you possibly can. Pressing that hip forward, we're going to hold this for 5 deep breaths. Now my back foot, it's going to be tough to see. My back foot, I want your big toe and your toes on the ground. Don't go like this, right? Because you can actually get a little bit of an added stretch for that big toe, and that is still dorsiflexion in the big toe. So press that hip forward, get a good stretch in the big toe. Use our hands to prop our chest tall. Big deep breath. We're going to get 5 deep breaths here. This is going to be for your hip flexors. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what the psoas is, there's a great website called Google, and you can Google psoas, spelled with a P. It is a muscle that attaches in the lower back, wraps all the way down into the hip flexors. And when we sit, that shortens up. When that shortens up, it pulls on your back. Ipso facto, making the back tight. So, spend a little bit of time stretching that out here. Psoas. Those of you unfamiliar with that term. Let's get our toes down. Let's press our hip forward. Prop ourselves up. Just 5 deep breaths. Take your time. Try to get active. Try to get a little bit further into that stretch. Don't rush it. Don't just try to go full bore into as far as we can go. Slowly get into that stretch, but actively make sure we're getting further and further into it. Alright. Very, very good. Now, we'll go back. We're going to go into a lower back stretch. My favorite. We're going to get a little extension here. Then go into cobras. So, I want us lying on our stomachs. Hands going to be directly underneath our shoulders. We're going to press our chest up as tall as we can. We're going to be all the way up. Once we're here, we're going to relax the shoulders down and in. I want you to press those hips towards the ground. We're going to take 5 deep breaths. As we exhale, you should feel those hips dropping towards the ground. And then after we get 5, we're going to go back into a child's pose. But what I want in that child's pose is I want our hands going opposite our butt. So, if we're pressing our butt back again, go back to that clock example. Our right glute, we should be pressing towards about 5 o'clock. Those hands should be up at about 11, maybe even 10. We're going to be picky. And we're going to be active in this stretch. This is not going to be one that we hold. We're just trying to actively get back into that stretch. Now, you should still be breathing. Make sure we're breathing here. And then we switch, and our hands go up closer to about 2 o'clock. And that butt, that The left glute, I should say, is going towards about 7. I'm just going to get 5. 5. We're going to go one more time in that cobra. Okay? Reset. House 22. Relax your shoulders in. Big deep breath. Last one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Lorraine and Jess, I saw you guys on the list before we got rolling. I appreciate you joining me. If anyone else is with me today, thank you. I hope you guys leave feeling functional.